So this is another video about turning points. Those of you that feel like you're at a life-changing, life-altering decision point in your life. Those of you who have a choice to make. And you may feel caught up in analysis paralysis. You may be feeling like you don't trust yourself to make the right choice. So I'm making this series, if you like, for those of you who do come to this point in your life where there's something that feels so big that you don't quite know where to turn. And the cards are mirroring that today. We have the Lovers, and the Lovers, as much as it looks like love, is a card about choice. We see the Lovers here in that state in the Garden of Eden. Perhaps there was no greater choice than whether or not to pick or whether or not to take the apple and eat the apple. So whatever this is for you, it does seem as if there is a big decision weighing on your mind. And the Lovers invites us to recognize this and make the choice from love. So it is about love. It's about decision making, but it's where can your heart decide? This is trusting your heart to make the right decision. And maybe this is a relationship decision for you. And me saying to you, let your heart decide, it's not very helpful at this stage because you maybe haven't trusted the process before. You may have trusted it and found that it hasn't worked out for you. So this is saying something more than that. This is about learning to fall in love with yourself and learning to trust the process and learning to feel into love and know what that feels like so that you can come to the point where you do trust your own decision-making process. So there's a lot going on in this card. And what it's saying is when we can unite that inner wisdom, those feminine qualities of compassion and care and inner wisdom, intuition, when we can sit with that and learn to trust it, and when we can then bring that inside knowing to our outside world, the masculine qualities, and show up in our life with truth, with conviction, with the masculine qualities of logic and reasoning coming into the outside world, bringing the inside out and the outside in. We unite the two. We unite the masculine within us and the feminine within us. And then we see the magic happens. We have this archangel of protection, of guidance, of loving benevolence, sitting above us, holding sacred space to rise into something else, another state of being. So I might have completely overcomplicated the situation here, but the quick message from the Lovers is saying, this is going to be a process for you. This isn't about the decision you've got to make right now. This is about any decision you make, learning to trust yourself, learning to sit with yourself, learning to love yourself and go within. And we have, yes, exactly the same situation. We're at a crossroads. We've got opposing forces, or we think we should be pulling one way, but our heart's saying something else. Or we've got two things and we just don't know. We really just don't know. We're sitting with it and the answer's not coming. And this card is saying again, much like the Lovers, where can we, instead of thinking we have one way or the other, where can there be a third option that rises above whatever this choice is, that feels a lot more like compassion and love and peace and grace, and that doesn't get caught up in the day-to-day hustle and bustle decisions you need to make. Maybe there is something more going on for you. And that's why you're at this crossroads. This is why you're being called to think deeper about what's going on. And not even necessarily think deeper, feel deeper. For this person has closed off their eyes. They're choosing to go inward at this time to make this decision. And what we often find at this stage is that there is a third path, a third opportunity, that when we stop pushing and pulling about which decision we need to make, when we sit quietly within our mind, within our heart, within that sacred space of peace, something else comes up and the problem is resolved without us having to get involved necessarily, or another path presents itself. Where can you be open? We see here the heart is crossed. Where can you be open to receiving more love in your life? Feeling your heart less guarded. And where can that take you to the potential that we could open ourselves up to a third option, another path, another way coming in to resolve the conflict or whatever that is that you're having to choose. And we see here a queen of swords who has reclaimed her power. She is rememberer, the divinity within her, the connection to source, and she's plugged herself in to receiving that wisdom. And she is cutting through the noise. The clouds of confusion are beneath her head. They're beneath her sword. She is getting clarity. She's going beyond the day-to-day that's holding her back. She's creating a situation where she is taking control. She is taking back her power. And from that space, from that still space, she's not chasing anything, this queen. She is sat confidently in a higher state. We see the crown here, a higher state of consciousness. She has risen above the given situation. So a lot going on in these cards. If you are at a crossroads, if you are trying to make a decision, and I hope I haven't confused you with all of these words, I'm going to take you now into a short meditation where I hope to make that a bit more succinct and a bit clearer for you. And before I do so, I just want to give a great shout out to those of you who've already liked to subscribe to the channel. It really does make a difference. Thank you. So if you haven't done already, and if you are willing and able, I call on you to close your eyes. And I just want you to think about the choices that you have in your life right now, the decision you may have to make, the pull towards one thing or another, the not knowing, the lack of trust in yourself. Where are you fearing that any decision you make might be the wrong one? Where do you feel stuck, almost paralyzed, unable to make a decision? Because both of them seem to offer benefits and both of them may not work out. If you've caught yourself at this stage, where can you just sit in your heart for a moment? And I want you to think about the word peace. And I want you to think about the word grace. And I want you to see if you can start to find those within your heart. Peace, grace, and stillness. If you're unable to do so right now, can you breathe into your heart space? Focus your awareness and your breath on this sacred space. Take the time to slow down. Where are you giving yourself the space to make this choice? And maybe the choice is to rise above what's happening right now, to become a different version of, a different version of you. Take back your power. Reclaim your divinity. Find some self-compassion and self-love. Where can you feel yourself held? By spirit guides, by guardian angels, by ancestors, by source or God. Feel this moment as if you are being held in a loving embrace. Sit in this space for a moment and just be held. And what if, instead of thinking about this choice or that choice, this decision, that decision, this path, that other path, instead, you think about it as life like a satellite navigation system. You type in that one word, a word that would sum up what you'd like to feel in your future self, as a future version of yourself, or even in this present state. Would it be peace? Would it be love? What would it be for you? And if you were to type this into a satellite navigation system, we know that satellite navigation systems take us from A to B. Once we've typed in the place name, all we have to do is move forward. So where does this mean? All you have to do is move forward with your life. Put your foot on the accelerator and just keep going. And yes, we do make wrong turns. Sometimes we've forgotten our handbag and we have to go back and pick it up. Sometimes we take the wrong turning off the motorway, or the satellite navigation system doesn't update quickly enough. We don't have the information and we've gone past the turning before we realize that we had to take it. Yes, all of that happens. And nevertheless, the destination is still there. And the satellite navigation system will guide us back. Always finding our way to that point. Where can your life feel more like that at this time? Know what it is your heart desires. And don't get caught up in the how you're going to get there. Don't get caught up in what this decision or that decision. Don't get caught up in, I might make the wrong decision. What if all paths lead there, if you know where you want to go? It's time to start spending a bit more time feeling into how you'd like to feel more in your life. It's time to uncross your heart. Stop your heart from being so guarded and trust in the process. And sometimes that outside world might not look like you think it should. It might feel fearful. It might feel hostile. It might feel as if nothing's coming together. Actually, everything's falling apart and things are going wrong. And still come back to that still and inner space, that sacred space that feels like peace, that feels like love, that feels like whatever it is that you would like to achieve. Come back to that space and sit instead in the knowing that this feeling can cut through everything else. It's that destination, your end point, that you can sit in no matter what shows up for you. And bit by bit, this clarity, this knowing is going to provide you a whole new way of being and a whole new way of thinking and a whole new way of feeling. Take back your power. Don't get distracted and pulled by the seeming choices that you have to make and the weight that you might feel that they carry. Know that as long as you keep that end point in mind, you're going to get there. In your own time, come back to the room and open your eyes. The Lover's card here, when you're at a turning point, when you're at a threshold of making a big life-changing decision, where can you rise above and sit in that heart space? And know that whatever decision you make is going to carry you towards where it is you want to go. No matter how difficult the terrain might seem, no matter if you don't know how on earth it's going to get there, trust in that process. Feel that you are guided and protected and loved. Open up your heart. Stop closing your heart off to the adventures that life presents. Feel into more of how you want it to feel, and know that when life looks like it's pulling you in one way or the other, there may out of nowhere come that potential for another direction, another thing, to come into in the ways you least expect it. And there is the magic. And our Queen of Swords saying, get clear. Hold that thought, hold that feeling of how it is you want to feel at the end of this. Type into your satellite navigation system and just keep moving forwards, rising above any external things that show up to try and throw you back into confusion. Just sit in your power, reclaim your throne, stop chasing. This woman is seated, but she maintains this higher state of being. It's time for you to put the crown on your head and reclaim your authority and your power. Have a wonderful day.